Hello, and welcome back to another day of NGS action. Today, well, I should say this is now the second series of the day, and this time it will be Bork Side of the Moon versus Roll1Esports. Now, let's roll the standings. And Roll1Esports pretty high up, but so are Bork Side of the Moon. They are neck and neck, second and third place up against each other. This is the opportunity for either of these two teams to really start to separate from each other and to start contesting Clouded Mines at the top of the standings. So both teams definitely want to get a win, and a domination would be super awesome for either of these two teams as well. But either way, they're all very well within the running for the playoffs, and overall, besides Macro Machines, B West is such a close division. I mean, 11 points between first and second to last place, that's not that much. That's 2.5 series. That's all it really is. So, and that's what makes B West fun. Any team can beat any team, and that's what I love seeing. But either way, map picks and bans have already come through, so let's take a quick look-see at that. Now, I believe Bork Side of the Moon did pick first pick. It is that double round robin division, so there is no coin flip. Home team just gets to decide what they want, and Bork Side of the Moon decided for first pick. Now, they will ban out Battlefield of Eternity and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Roll1Esports banned away Alterac Pass and Brax's Holdout. And map number 1 is going to be Dragon Shire, where both teams will be fighting on the Dragon Shrines for the Dragon Knight. Now, with that being said, just waiting on the players to get back in here. We currently have 8 out of 10 players, just as a little update on the lobby. And yeah, so basically as soon as they are in, as soon as we get the ready check going, we can get started. And for those of you that are here, I would like to give just a couple final questions. If you have come up with any emote ideas, please let me know. I believe I currently have, technically they're 4 ideas, but I'm planning on making 5 or 6 emotes out of them. So I do definitely have enough now to get a commission going, but if you come up with any other ideas, if there's any emotes you'd like me to add to the channel, whether it's for follower or for subscriber, be sure to let me know and I'll get those going for all of you. Yeah, with that, the 9th player has joined, just waiting on one more player, and then we can get going and we can get started. And I'm looking at these two teams. I mean, I've cast both of these two teams quite a bit now. Roll1Esports, I think this is my 3rd, maybe even 4th cast for them this season. And Bork Side of the Moon, I believe this will also be probably my... I've casted them at least once. It'll be my 2nd or 3rd. Hornet Stimpack. Vendrick, that's part of the list. That's already happening, so don't you worry. That idea is definitely going to be coming into play. Let me pull out the notepad just to kind of give you an idea of what we do have here. I'm going to have 2 Artanis emotes, both animated, one with a turning into a check mark, one turning into an X. Then I have the Tokibi Hype animated emote, the Tokibi Pause emote. Still deciding exactly how I want that, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. And then the Hornet Stinger Stimpack. And then I may also do a non-animated hype. I'm still thinking if I want to do that or not. So that's what I mean by 5 to 6. I always have a notepad ready for it. Oh yeah, and then the add emote for followers. Also debating on that one. That one's a maybe. I'm still not sure how I feel about that one. I think that was Teasy's idea, and it could be fun. Just, to rag on the non-subscribers. I'm always a fan of that. I'm just kidding, obviously. I appreciate every single one of you that does come by to view the streams. And that's why I make sure we never have ads during the gameplay itself. But yeah, those are kind of the emote ideas we currently have. Now we are still waiting for the final player to join in. Hopefully will be happening soon. Because I've never really been good at filling in this dead air. I guess I could talk about the rest of my week because tomorrow I have one of those rare days off from streaming. There's only one game that day. Will be Division D, Regen Degens versus Cosmos. But Peldor has already picked up that cast, so that will be Peldor's day. And then Sunday, I should be casting Boomer Gaming versus Inting for Globes in the Heroic Division. No games on Saturday either, though I will be casting some League of Legends over at the Risen_Esports channel. So if you'd like to check that out, where I'm actually not the hype caster, I'm the analyst there, the color caster. So if you want to see me in that role, that would be the place to do it. And I believe that one goes live 4 p.m. Pacific. I'm not sure. I should know that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 4. But it's fun. I'm even debating broadening my horizons as well. Because I'm considering learning either Overwatch or Rocket League to cast. I could probably do Dota, but I'd get too sad casting Dota. I miss that game, but I don't want to go back to it. So it'd be just really frustrating trying to cast it. But yeah, I've been watching a bit of Rocket League trying to learn that. Overwatch is a bit harder because there's so many ability names and so many heroes. And then so many maps as well that I kind of have to figure out how it's played. And since I'm not very good at Overwatch, it is a little bit harder to keep up with the maps. But I was thinking that could be a good thing for me to do during the off season. Just maybe stream a little bit of Overwatch 2, start learning the gameplay. Same with Rocket League. Just kind of get a feel for the other games. Then obviously keep up with HOTS. Because, I mean, like I'm sure you've all seen, a lot of patches have been coming in recently. HOTS got added to Game Pass. And that BlizzCon had looked so much like it was going to be something teasing more HOTS stuff. I really hope that's the case. I'd be surprised, to be honest. I don't expect there to be a HOTS thing coming through. But yeah, as an update, 10th player has made it to comms, but has not joined the lobby quite yet. But either way, we're already 5 out of our 15 minutes wait time. And actually, they just joined the lobby, so we should be good. All right, so hopefully they can get the ready check going, and then we'll get right into game number 1. Because this is supposed to be a pretty banger series. Like, there's 1 point between these two teams. Whoever wins today is going to be in a much, much better spot for the rest of the season. They'll have that extra little bit of space between the two teams. So I think we need to move some hats around, and then we can get going. Sorry, a lot of stuff moving around in that lobby chat. But yeah, I guess those are kind of all the updates I can give you. I've also been considering getting a second NGS jersey, because I'll be honest, I wear it every single day. So at this point, it might be worth getting a second one. Maybe I will for Season 20. We'll see. We'll figure it out as we get going. But the ready check has started. Both teams are ready. I've done my ready check as well, and we should be getting started for game number 1 between Bork Side of the Moon and Roll1Esports.
Dragonshire.
All right, and we are in draft number 1 between Bork Side of the Moon and Roll1Esports. And this is Dragonshire, another one of those snowballing maps where if you're able to take control of at least half the map, it's pretty easy to just consistently keep winning out and being able to consistently move further and further into the enemy line and safely grab those Dragon Knights, which absolutely destroy towers, forts, and really any structure. Now, Rexar going to be the first ban coming out of Bork's Side of the Moon. And pretty interesting ban here as one moment. Sorry, just getting a message from my wife. Okay, yeah, but we're back here into the draft. I'm surprised we're actually getting banned out this early on. Definitely seems like it's a respect ban coming out of Bork's Side of the Moon. As Roll1Esports ban out the Yorick, and Bork's Side of the Moon once again will ban out the Thrall. Just removing a lot of those. Well, I guess offlaner is a loose term here. Thrall can be played over in the 4 stack now as well. Very commonly played as a melee assassin. Provide a lot of damage and a lot of utility in the team fights as well. The final ban from Roll1Esports going to be that Genji. And a Nubarak insta-lock for ATD09. Now with that, they could try to pick the tank for Rock Your World earlier on for Roll1Esports. Depends what they want to do with their draft. There's still other picks they could go for. A lot of really strong picks like Hanzo's available. Chromie's available. If they want to go to the offlane, Dahaka's available. But they're going to go Hanzo Tyrande. So it looks like they are building that Archer team composition. Now, I can't think of any other Archers. They could go Sylvanas. I'd be really surprised if they do. It would be pretty funny, though. Oh, but Bacon, seeing they're building the Archer team comp, immediately snipes it. And Roll1Esports strategy is ruined, of course. Wow, cheap viewers, Jack. Wow, thank you. Get out of my chat. But I don't know why I get so excited when I see one of those. But either way, Tyrael locked in for a cutie puppy as well. And we've seen Bork's Side of the Moon play this before. This Tyrael is sometimes played as an offlaner and sometimes played just kind of as an anchor. Just being an unmovable force. Just something that can safely soak regardless of the situation. And that is commonly where Tyrael is played right now. Could go for the Sanctification as well later on just for those team fights. And definitely scales super well into the mid to late game. Especially once the heroics are online. But now Stukov going to get banned by Roll1Esports. As they seem to want to just get rid of follow-up. Because Tyrael also has the other heroic. I forget the name of it. But the one where they can immediately lock someone down. Dash into them and stun them. And if you have that with an Anubrak, with the lurking arm over it, it's super difficult to get out. Especially since they already locked in the Tyrande and can't get that Anduin. But Falstad going to be the final ban coming out of Bork's Side of the Moon. Now Roll1Esports definitely need to start thinking about what they want to pick here. They could lock in their offlaner. Most likely they will be into Cutie Puppy. And it will be Dahaka there for Zad. Obviously can double soak pretty well. Also wins in the offlane in certain matchups. I'm not sure how it goes into Tyrael, though. Again, Bork's Side of the Moon, they can move their players around so much, so pretty difficult to always consistently know where they're going. As ETC will get locked in for Rock Your World. Now, Judgment, that is the name. You're right. But now, Bork's Side of the Moon, Silver Spine Smoke still need to get their heroes locked in. And it's going to be the Karazim and the Urel. Okay, so it is likely going to be... I will see the lanes when they pick them later on, but I have seen them play 1-3-1 before, and I think that is what they did last time they were on D-Shire. They put Cutie Puppy in the bot lane, Smoke in the top lane, then ATD, Bacon, and Silver Spy over in the mid lane, and just kind of got early camps and contested camps super early on. And I think it's a very difficult strategy and a difficult pace to play into. And final pick, gonna be the Cassia. I actually really like that pick here. The blind is really going to lower the DPS coming out of Bork's Side of the Moon. Tyrael, Sylvanas, and Karazim. They're the ones that are going to be dealing most of the damage. Surprisingly, Karazim as a healer will still be dealing quite a bit. And the blind really negates most of it. So I really like that last pick coming out. They don't have any other blinds, so not going to be able to stack those bonuses. But either way, it's really going to come down to execution as we head into game number 1. All right, and we are in game number 1, Dragonshire between Bork's Side of the Moon and Roll1Esports. We've seen Bork's Side of the Moon play this strat before, and they won with it last time. It's a very unique and interesting strat that they've definitely been practicing. This time, I don't need to ask that at the end of the interview. This I know for sure they love to play. But I said they're going to do a 1-3-1, but they could do some other fancy stuff. And right now it seems like they are aiming for max fanciness on the side of Bork. While all 5 members of Roll1Esports are currently going towards the mid lane. Now, I think this could be a pretty smart answer for Roll1Esports as well. If you're not sure where the enemy's going, just send everyone mid lane and then play around that. Now, it does get harder because there is a Sylvanas and an Anubarak pushing in. So with the black arrows, those get started on those structures pretty quickly. They'll be able to do quite a bit of damage. Now, also, interestingly enough, it is going to be Fend build coming out from the Cassian. Now, that's not one I've seen too often, as they are jumping onto ATD. Silver Spy just trying to DPS a little bit on the front line. The Impale will go wide, as both sides are going to start grouping. And it is the 1-3-1 build. It will be Smoke in the top, Cutie Puppy in the bot lane. And, I mean, Urel and Tyrael are so good at this, but the Impale going on to Velvet and is starting to get quite low, but now ATD could be the wrong spot, and First Blood actually going the way of Roll1Esports. Really well played by R1E. But as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by Bork's Side of the Moon.
Take control of the shrine.
They have 2 really solid anchor heroes in both of their off lanes, as now Cutie Puppy could be getting jumped upon, but again, with that, Eldrain's Might just able to jump away. And that's exactly what I mean. Neither one of those heroes are really easy to jump, even if you do get the gank onto them. They're able to hold onto the lane regardless of how many people you bring, regardless of which characters you bring in as well. And that kind of gives them a lot more mobility on the map. If they want to strengthen bot lane, they can rotate their mid to their trio from mid lane to bot lane. If they want to do the same top, they can do it as well. There's really nothing keeping them in any lane besides the 2 anchors in top and bot. And I think that gives them so much creative freedom in terms of how they want to approach the game. And if they're good at pivoting when the game isn't going the way they expect, it will open up quite a bit more for them. But now both Dragon Shrines are there in favor of Roll1Esports, but ATD just throwing out the scares, doesn't even need to approach Rock Your World. And the Bruiser Camp will be going down here as well, so Bacon and Silver Spy will get that extra little bit of pressure for Smoke. And now, once again, they do have 3 members here in the mid lane. So even if you do control both shrines, you need to control all 3 lanes. So if you give up control on 2, that's fine. But now the real issue right now is there's a pretty massive push happening in the bot lane as an engage over in the mid lane. Rock Your World getting jumped upon, but will go in instead. And now they have the blind. They have the Lunar Flare as well. Silver Spy gonna get taken down to about half HP, and actually a bit less damage than I expected coming out from Roll1Esports. But now, Zad over in the top side will get stunned into the wall. Gonna dodge into stasis, but the Bruiser Camp is starting to press forward. They have the power slide. Lunar Flare actually gonna get knocked back with the face melt from Rock Your World. So won't be able to land that follow-up stun of Smoke, just jumping in completely. Doesn't really care too much on this. Urel is super tanky. And Roll1Esports will retake control of the top side, but Dr. Evil gonna get pushed out of the lane by Cutie Puppy. Now ATD is waiting in the brush. Not in a position to start an engage, but definitely keeping their mid lane safe. As now Smoke already jumping in. Rock Your World able to get the stun. They have it on a 2. Face Melt still not used and will be used just for a little bit of DPS, but didn't have the angle. Now the side of Bork Side of the Moon could be looking for a play. Velvet hiding in the brush, but they're looking for Rock Your World, and Pale will land as well. And so much damage from Silver Spy, but with the power slide, will be able to get back to safety. As a little bit of trading over in the bot lane, Cutie Puppy just fighting with Dr. Evil. And slowly but surely is starting to win out. Now, Dr. Evil did just reset, I believe. So this is Cutie Puppy bringing it back to the same state it was before. And now they're bringing Bacon and Silver Spy as well. They have the bot lane push, and they could go straight for that Bruiser Camp in the bot lane. And this should be free for them. They have control of the top lane. They know that if someone tries to take the bot shrine here, they could contest it, as Dr. Evil scared to walk forward. And honestly, for good reason, ATD is here as well. The Bruiser Camp in the top side was taken by Roll1Esports, so that will be a little bit of pressure going towards Smoke, as they are bringing multiple members. Velvet and Juaniba going to be here now. But Smoke getting jumped upon. And the drag will not land Power slide will, but unfortunately Smoke is already behind the wall. No follow-up will be available for it. That Smoke just knocking Zad into the wall, trying to clear away this camp. But the real push is happening to this bot side. They have the black arrows, they have the scarabs, and they have the Sylvanas and the Carries team. So that's a lot of structural DPS if they're able to get onto it. But now Silver Spy getting hit into the back line, but able to just dash out. Cutie Puppy is here as well to help fight in the bot lane, but no fight is needed. They got the entire bot lane wall as the final hit from a minion needs to come through and actually won't. So this cannon tower will survive at 50 HP. But that will be it. That's still most of their bot lane gone. And bit by bit, Bork side of the moon, they are gaining an experience advantage despite being down a kill. And with these minions pushing into the bot side, could finish it off. But Dr. Evil trying to cancel it instead. Will be tanking a couple of the minions. As Velvet will finish it off, and a couple more hits did land. No, never mind. It's still at 50 HP. But Rock Your World is trying to take control. And now this could be the first team fight, but it is 4v3. Bacon is here now, and Rock Your World gonna get stunned. 7-sided strike with the level 10s. And now the Cocoon is there. They're on to the Cassie. Level 10 still not there for Roll1Esports. Do they have the stun follow-up? Velvet will get hit by the Haunting Wave, but that will be it. And I believe it was the Mind Control talent picked up by the Sylvanas, picked up by Bacon. So both these two teams, once again, just playing the map. Eldrarunes might just use to poke Velvet a little bit. Siege Camp was pushed in. And again, they're just going to use their cooldowns and go towards the mid lane. Because with the black arrows, with the extra DPS, and actually, we do have a mosh pit happening in the bot lane. And they will be able to take down the Tyrael. Was a little bit surprised about that play because I was trying to find Tyrael on the minimap, and that's when I realized they were in the middle of the entire Roll1Esports 4 core. But there isn't enough time for them to take over the top side. But what they can do is they can try to force another fight. Level 10s are up. Only Mosh Pit was utilized there, and it will be Dragon Strike. So it is going to be that DPS talent coming out rather than the stun. And I guess overall that makes sense because they will definitely need more DPS. With the front line that Bork side of the moon has. And Silver Spy is a strong DPS as the Carries team, but now they have Lunar Flare. 7-sided strike. Gonna be able to get Silver Spy up to safety. But the Dragon Strike gonna be pointed the wrong way and will not be able to land. But as I was saying, Silver Spy, especially on the Carries team, very solid tank. But now Velvet is getting jumped upon. Mind Control gonna go wide. And the Cocoon does land onto the healer on the backside. Now, do they have any extra CC for Horniba? But no, they do not. Both sides will just back away. Now, third attempt, Silver Spy's healing is going to be lower than most other healers. So having extra DPS will provide more value. That's all I wanted to say. But now Cutie Puppy getting jumped upon as well. But with the Eldrarune's Might, will be able to just back away to safety. And once again, Bacon and Silver Spy just going to get started on this Bruiser camp that will give up both lanes. ATD is alone in the mid lane. Could get jumped upon. Rock Your World will go in, but not going to be able to finish it off. The Impale not going to come out, and actually, Roll1Esports will be able to get the first Dragon Knight of the game. They were finally able to break this 1-3-1, and now even punting out ATD. Now the mid lane wall already going to get lowered pretty severely, and the Dragon Knight will be going over to the top side. Smoke going to try DPSing onto it a little bit, but once again, just going to take that Dragon Knight punt. But now Velvet getting jumped upon. Haunting Wave. Just going to be used for a little bit of extra poke, but will get healed up by Horniba. Now, I'm not sure if that is the best use of the Dragon Knight, but Cutie Puppy getting jumped upon. Lots of people here in the bot lane. And incidentally, it is Judgment for Cutie Puppy. Dr. Evil gonna use a Dragon Strike immediately onto the Eldrarune's Might, but the Castiel will go down as well, so that is a 1-for-1 trade. And I actually think that does favor Bork's side of the moon, because right now when there's a Dragon Knight, and they're just not really getting too much value. This Dragon Knight was used to just defend the top side, push out the Bruiser camp, instead of pushing into any of those structures. Now ATD will be able to finish off the mid lane wall. And this Dahaka could be in a pretty bad spot here. Zad is alone. Silver Spy's there. ATD is there. Bacon. The entire crew is here. The stasis already going to get used. But with the Lunar Flare, with the stasis coming out of Zad, they're going to be able to back away to safety. Now, Dr. Evil, in the meanwhile, has gotten started on this siege camp. And the rest of Roll1Esports will get started on the Bruiser camp. There aren't any shrines up right now. So both sides can safely fix their waves. They can safely take the time to just grab camps, grab some experience, and start scaling into this mid to late game. Now we are approaching 10 minutes, level 14s for both teams. With only 2 more talents left, but pretty big stack happening in the top side. 4 members strong for Roll1Esports. As Cutie Puppy once again just matching into Dr. Evil, which I do think is pretty fun. I also haven't mentioned it quite yet, but it is a basic attack build coming out from Dr. Evil. Not one I've actually seen for a very long time, but it will give the extra range whenever killing a minion anyway, and it will also give that extra DPS, and trading into Cutie Puppy will be a lot easier because the actual autos are definitely where most of your poke is going to come through, especially if you want to save that mana. Now the Bruiser Camp is going to get finished off this time by Bork side of the, or by Roll1Esports. The Bork side of the moon, they're finishing off the wall in the top lane. Black Arrows got committed for it, and now the drag almost landing on ATD, but the Scarab will get spawned just in time. Haunting Wave there as well will just take down all of the minions. Now this is more of a macro focused game this time around. Neither one of these two teams are really electing to brawl. Lunar Flare will scout out ATD09. There is some trading happening on the bot side. Cutie Puppy trying to fight Dr. Evil. Judgment is going to be coming through, but do they have enough DPS, and Dr. Evil able to just jump over the wall? Now the Bruiser Camp is pushing out this bot lane, but between Bacon and Cutie Puppy, they should be able to just clear it away pretty quickly. So no harm, no foul there, but that will be a trade of heroics. Now Haunting Wave used again just to finish off this wave, as both teams now starting to group towards mid lane. The shrines are available, and Smoke trading with Zad, trying to take control of this. And ATD09 we do see on the minimap slowly but surely trying to walk up. Now the Dragon Knight is available, but Silver Spy trying to lock it in, but the bottom shrine will be removed by Dr. Evil just in time. So there will not be another set or another Dragon Knight coming up, at least not quite yet. Now Cutie Puppy again as the anchor, just going to try clearing out this bot lane a little bit. But they have 4 members here, and they're looking for Zad. Zad gonna get stunned up. They have the Impale as well in stasis mode now. And 7-sided strike dealing so much damage, and Zad will get finished off. Big kill by Smoke. But now Rock Your World looking for the aggressive play. A lot of cooldowns did get used in that fight, but that will still be the victory for Bork side of the moon. They're able to get the 1 kill, and now they're looking for the mid lane. They have control of both shrines, and they have control of both lanes. Now Rock Your World looking for the back lane. They're able to get the stun on it too, but Mind Control going to prevent the mosh pit, and now they're just jumping on Rock Your World. Not too much health left. They will be able to finish that off as Bork side of the moon get a 2nd kill, and now Silver Spy and Bacon looks like will be the one to be piloting the Dragon Knight as they push mid. And this should be the first fort of the game going down. It is a 13-minute Dragon Knight. No wall either. Just gonna walk up, start bashing it, start breathing fire onto it, whatever is needed, as the first fort will go down, and immediately they're walking over to the bot lane. Cutie Puppy already here with a massive wave. Now the Triangle Flame, which is my new name for it now, will also help clear out this wave, and they got the bottom fort. Now still have more than half the time, more than half the HP, and they're looking towards this bot lane wall as well. Dr. Evil just trying to DPS onto it, as trying to clear away this Dragon Knight as fast as possible, but it's so difficult. Velvet trying to help as well, as now ATD with the Judgment. They're jumping onto the backline. Dr. Evil once again will be able to jump away. Ball Lightning is traveling in the backline. Zad looking towards Silver Spy. Dragon Strike not really going to be accomplishing too much. It is 4v5 down here, so if Roll1Esports can continue forcing forward, they could find themselves another play. Now Moshpit's still down for 40 seconds, and that will be the end of that play. They are able to push away Bork side of the moon, but they still lost 2 forts, and they lost their entire bot lane wall during that play as well. But it looks like the fight isn't over. The Impale will be able to land onto them, but Zad is here first. But Velvet's starting to get low. Rock Your World in the backline, going to go down to the fort, but they're able to trade 1-for-1 with Cutie Puppy. Dr. Evil gonna get hit by the trade. Zad gets pushed into the siege camp and actually able to steal it, but Velvet started to get low. Dr. Evil tried to DPS, but actually body blocking Velvet just a little bit, as ATD could be looking. They have the Haunting Wave as well. Just need a couple more shots, and we'll be able to get it. Juaniba going to follow, and that's going to be a 3-for-1 in favor of Bork side of the moon. They do lose this siege camp, which is actually pushing into their fort, funnily enough. But they're going to use their black arrows, and they're going to start grouping as a team, trying to take the bot lane keep. Dragon Strike going to get committed, but Roll1Esports able to just walk away from it. Now with the Scarabs, with the Haunting Wave, this should be a pretty easy fort to finish off. Very safe as well. But it looks like they're pushing for even more. They do have level 20s, and they're looking to take this game number 1 over Roll1Esports. Now they are 3 members strong. There's no wave, so it will be a bit easier to defend. They have the isolation and the drag landing onto Silver Spy. Silver Spy is quite low, but Roll1Esports, Rock Your World will get cocooned. Now, they will not be able to end. They won't even be able to get any permanent damage on the core, but they will be able to take the keep. Now, the Siege Camp just standing there the whole time, autoing onto that fort, will be able to at least give something back for Roll1Esports. And they also have a pretty big wave on the top side. Not going to get too much damage on the fort, but that's still permanent damage on structure. But like I said, this is going to be difficult for Roll1Esports now. This is one of those maps that does snowball. If you're not able to approach this middle line of the map, it's so much harder to defend. And we can see, like, immediately ATD is able to take control of this bot shrine. Now Zad will be able to buy a little bit of time. 1v1 with Cutie Puppy. But that's all that's really can happen there. Cutie Puppy just trying to trade. Has level 20 advantage and is able to win on the trades with Zad. Now, they're looking for the engage in the bot side, but Lunar Flare will be able to dismount ATD and prevent any kind of play. Now, Roll1Esports, they need to get that level 20. They are very close, just need a little bit more as the mosh pit happening over to the backside, and they are on to Silver Spy, but 7-sided strike is going to come through. Do they have enough DPS? Silver Spy will go down, but the Dragon Knight is also collected at the same time, but they can start playing forward. They can just start DPSing onto it, and it definitely seems like they want to push in for the core. They have a Bruiser camp there as well, and the entire roster of Roll1Esports just trying to DPS onto this Dragon Knight, but Cutie Puppy zoning them away, and they have the mind control as well onto Rock Your World, and the Judgment coming in by Cutie Puppy, and now the Dragon Strike will be over top, but they're able to just walk away. It is a 1-for-1 total right now, as Bork Side of the Moon able to bring this team fight back at least a little bit. Now they're no longer threatening to end the game, but they are threatening to take down this mid lane keep. Now the Dragon Knight is quite low, just needs a couple more hits. Black arrows going to lower the damage onto the Dragon Knight, as Rock Your World once again just getting blocked away. And now Cutie Puppy will not get dragged by Zad, and that will be the end of that play. And again, another wave does crash on the top side, but it doesn't really matter at this point. The Bruiser Camp was not strong enough to take the fort. And now the Bruiser Camp is going to start getting hit by Bork Side of the Moon, but Roll1Esports, they were able to defend. They didn't lose their keep. They almost did. But the important thing is they didn't in the end. Now 4 members strong. Roll1Esports is here, but there's 5 members for Bork Side of the Moon. This could be their time to engage. Rock Your World is behind enemy lines, and they're able to get onto that. Mind control with 7-sided strike. Rock Your World able to get away in time, but now Bacon just chasing on. And now they've already got a Juanita. They've already got a Rock Your World. And it's 2v5 left in this top side. Velvet is on the way, but how much can Velvet do? And with the Cocoon, this is going to be so difficult for them to play it out. They have the ball lightning. Velvet going to get hit by the Judgment. And Silver Spy and Cutie Puppy able to get those kills. Dr. Evil bounced against the wall, will get finished off. And it's just going to be Zad left alive. But they have the Impale, they have the stuns, and they have the DPS. They are able to take down all 5 members. As the ball lightning was still jumping back and forth. But that should be the game. Bork Side of the Moon will be able to just walk it in through this mid lane, through this bot lane. They'll take the keep on the wake, because why not? And all 5 members strong with no one to defend. They got the early lead. They were able to hold it. And once again, this 1-3-1 strat from Bork Side of the Moon comes out clutch, and they win game number 1. Yeah, and another super close game. But unfortunately, Bork Side of the Moon, once they got their lead, they were able to hold on to it. They even managed to get the first Dragon Knight against Bork Side of the Moon. And the entire strategy for Bork revolves around maintaining control of that mid lane. But unfortunately, Bork side of the moon able to teamfight a little bit better, despite the DPS definitely favoring Roll1Esports. But when you have members like Urel, Tyrael, and Nubarak, it's easy to soak damage without being forced to soak the pressure. So with that, we are going to go to a short break, but when we come back, it'll be game number 2. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, as we are now ready for game number 2. And we are headed over to Infernal Shrines. Now let's get that prediction started once again. Between Bork's side of the moon and Roll1Esports. Now Infernal Shrines, another one of them fun maps. There's some very specific characters that are quite good on here. This is Hogger's best map. Tychus performs really well. Chromie does well on everything, but on this map specifically does quite well. And Joanna as well. Obviously can't forget Joanna, but again, Joanna's one of those heroes. You can basically pick her wherever you want. But now we are going to get started on this pick and ban phase. Now last time they did ban away the Rexstar first, and I'm wondering if they're going to ban it away again. Coming out from Bork's side of the moon. They are going to ban the Thrall. That was their second ban last time around. Though at least for now, holding true to their first phase bans. Just not holding true to the order. As Roll1Esports looking for their first set of bans as well. And I'm wondering who they're going to try to get rid of. They are going to get rid of the Genji once again. They don't want to deal with it. I don't think it's quite as strong on Infernal Shrines, but is still a huge annoyance, especially if you're playing into someone who is good at Genji. Obviously can make a lot of plays happening in the backline, can just be a super massive nuisance to try and play against, and a perfectly placed deflect will deal so much damage if you're not careful and auto into it. There's now a final pick going to be coming in from Bork's side of the moon, and they will ban away the Deckard Cain, trying to remove that extra little bit of zoning control, and obviously the massive healing that does come out of that old man. Roll1Esports still have one more ban remaining. And Bork's side of the moon this time will have first pick. So they will be able to kind of choose how they want to play this. If there's any characters that they think are super powerful, they can lock that in immediately, as Tassadar will be the final ban for Roll1Esports. Now Dahaka is still available. Hogger is available if they do want to play that. I know not every team likes to play it, but instead they're just going to take the solid tank. They're going to take ETC for ATD 09. And that will be their first play. And it was played by Rock Your World in game number 1. I did have a couple strong mosh pits, but the way Bork's side of the moon were playing, they had so much crowd control. It was difficult to ever really have a long, consistent mosh pit coming out from the ETC. And now Joanna and Stukov both going to get locked in for Roll1Esports. Rock Your World playing the Joanna, and Juaniba going to be playing the Stukov. And that's really going to change the course of these games, because Joanna obviously can absolutely destroy these skeletons super quickly. Can even solo push them in, and Stukov going to be super powerful during these team fights. And now Brightwing and Leoric going to get locked in for Bork's side of the moon. Silver Spy going to lock in the Brightwing. Smoke going to lock in the Leoric. Now the Brightwing will give them a bit of spell armor, will be able to have that phase shift as well for the global presence and the global heals. And Sylvanas will get banned by Roll1Esports. They don't want that played again by Bacon. And frankly, that makes a lot of sense. They just don't want to deal with it. And Zeratul actually going to be the ban coming out of Bork's side of the moon. Now, I'm not sure if that's something that was going to get picked up by Roll1Esports here, but that's going to get banned away regardless of how they feel about it. And I'm trying to think why. I don't know if Roll1Esports has played it. I don't think. I think I saw them pick Zeratul once, but it wasn't super successful. But maybe for this map, it could have been worth a little bit more. But now we're going to see the rest of Roll1Esports team composition. And it's going to be Li Ming and Anubrak being locked in for Velvet and Zad. Now, they still obviously have the final counter pick, and they are going to be saving it for the offlane. Or sorry, not the offlane. They have 2 tanks. That's going to be Joanna for Rock Your World and Anubrak for Zad. Okay, that's interesting. Double tank composition coming out from Roll1Esports this time around. Was played by Bork's side of the moon in game number 1. But this is a pretty different style. Now, I'm wondering what's going to be the main tank, how they're going to play it. As it's going to be Kerrigan and Sergeant Hammer locked in for Bork's side of the moon. Now, that's a really interesting picks as well. I mean, Kerrigan definitely going to be very strong on the front line, but with the 2 tanks, I think Kerrigan can be stopped. But the difficult part is going to be this Sergeant Hammer. Li Ming does have the range to give a little bit of DPS that way, and Anubarak can reach to engage onto the Sergeant Hammer. But if you're doing that, then Kerrigan will absolutely be able to out DPS you. The final pick going to be coming through, and it will be the Junkrat for Dr. Evil. I'm not sure how to call either of these two, and it will be Zad going into the offlane. Okay, that's kind of what I expected, because Anubarak definitely better as a main tank. Not really good at shoving in lanes, but Joanna can shove lanes really well. That's going to be interesting. We have an off-lane Joanna, we have a Kerrigan, and a Sergeant Hammer this game. Going to be a lot of fun seeing how these drafts are played as we head into game number 2. Alright, welcome back everyone, and we're still loading into game number 2, Infernal Shrines between Bork side of the moon and Roll1Esports. Bork side of the moon, they have the lead, they have the 1-0 so far. But the question is, what's going to happen from here on out? And because there are still all 5 members currently looking to go to the mid lane, and if Bork side of the moon are able to win this and get the domination, they should have a pretty clear run towards that top 2 spot. Roll1Esports need to try and bring this back. Even winning one game and preventing the domination will keep it so much closer in the standings. So they need to win at least one game this time around. And now both teams going to be grouping up towards that mid lane. Roll1Esports will be there first as Bork side of the moon are hesitant to approach. A cutie puppy not going to get poked down by the one last grenade as Dr. Evil able to throw in the grenades over top. Bacon gonna be matching with Rock Your World as the Arcane Orb will land onto Smoke. Now Zad going to get the pullback. Now they have the extra stun as well, the Impale, but they don't really have enough damage to follow up right now. It is Smoke and ATD, both really tanky. And really, despite not having 2 tanks on the side of Bork side of the moon, they're still really beefy. They have the Leoric, they have the ETC. Silver Spy behind them as now they're looking onto ATD. The Impale will land. Lurking Arm as well. Concussion Mine will prevent them as Bacon able to land the stun onto 3 and prevent that play. But still a lot of damage going over towards ATD, but ATD able to self-heal a little bit there. And with the help of Silver Spy will be fine. And now Bork side of the moon will get started on their camps. Roll1Esports will get started as well. And it is interesting to see that Joanna being played in the offlane. Now Smoke will still be able to outpush as there is a little bit of an invade coming through. Rock Your World is going to get polymorphed and will dodge away onto the play, but now ATD gets hit with a concussion mine, but no follow-up coming out of Roll1Esports. So with that, both sides will be able to take their camps. But Bork side of the moon, they're putting more pressure towards this mid lane. They're sending 3 just to get that lane pushed in and forcing Roll1Esports to go back. Power Slide going to land onto 3 members. But none of the other abilities in return will be able to meet their mark. And now Velvet Juaniba and Rock Your World trying to shove out the mid lane. Zad's going to be here for the help as well. The Condemn not going to land on any heroes, but will help clear out this wave. And with a couple of shield glares, they will be able to shove out this mid lane, and they're not going to be too worried about it. Now, Zad does need to get back top because, like I said, the Leoric will always outpush the Joanna, and Smoke is going to be able to deal quite a bit of damage to these structures. Will even finish off that cannon tower and won't even get pulled back. Uses that Wraith Walk to avoid the Condemn, and will be fine. But now they have the stun. It will land. Lurking Arm going to get used as well. But ATD, too tanky, not enough DPS is in the area. And now the Bruiser Camp getting started by Bacon and Silver Spy. Now with this first shrine, I think this is going to be the first test for both these two teams. Zad definitely needs longer to get to these fights and to be able to participate. Now, it is going to be Eternal Retaliation talent as well, in case anyone wanted to see how they are building this off lane. So it will refund a little bit of mana. It will give the Condemn, and it does help the push a little bit. Now Cutie Puppy going to siege up, but the real fight should be happening over on this side. I'm going to zoom out because it does seem like stuff will be playing on multiple parts of this map. But Bork side of the moon, they're bringing all their members earlier on. Concussion Mine going to send ATD away as the Impale will land onto Smoke. But they do see that they have brought more members. All 5 members of Roll1Esports are here. But Bacon actually pushing out the mid lane right now instead. Level 7 gonna be there for Bork side of the moon as well. So they have the talent advantages. Now Bacon looking for the back line. Not going to be able to land the power slide onto Dr. Evil as ATD was still fishing for the plate. 30 skeletons already gone, and the Bruiser Camp is shoving into the top lane. So this is a good spot to be in, as level 7s will be there now for Roll1Esports. So now the team fight breaking through. Silver Spy getting low, but will have the extra heal from the Soothing Mist. But now they just need 4 skeletons. They're both above 30. Who's going to be able to get the last ones? They're still team fighting. They still 31 to 38, and with one final hit, Smoke going to get taken down to half HP, but so is ATD, and the Arcane Punisher will come out for Roll1Esports, but it will be first blood going towards Bork's side of the moon. And the real question is, how much will they be able to get on the backline? Cutie Puppy going to take a decent chunk of damage from the Arcane Punisher, as now the Arcane Punisher will start grouping up, and Bacon gets tossed over the wall, but will still be in a safe spot. Now they're not getting too much with this Punisher. They're not getting too much pressure. But I think they still got about enough to get back from the death. So overall, this whole exchange was pretty even, as the final cannon tower does go down. Now there's a half-level lead for Bork, but they had that just from basic push, as looking towards ATD09, Lurking Arm as well, but the Arcane Orb not going to be in range. Now the Siege Camp, Cutie Puppy sieging up to take that, and with Bacon and Silver Spy, they will be able to finish it off. But now Roll1Esports trying to get this central Siege Camp, and they should be able to, as they are bringing in 3 members into the mid lane for Bork side of the moon. And these Impalers are going to start absolutely nailing that wall. ATD has a pretty interesting angle, but will back away instead. Dr. Evil going to try clearing out this mid lane. Definitely going to be in a spot where that's needed. But Zad's here as well, and the Burrow Charge is going to be used by Rock Your World just to kind of help defend a little bit easier, as ATD going to just walk away. And now Cutie Puppy still looking for the siege. So now they have the Burrow Charge, they have the Impale, they have the Lurking Arm, but they also have the heal coming out from Silver Spy. They just need a little bit more, and Cutie Puppy will go down. And that is showing that if they're able to get onto the Sergeant Hammer, they can get the kill. And most importantly, they're showing they can get onto the Sergeant Hammer. And now ATD also getting stunned, also blocked with the Lurking Arm, but able to just walk back away and power slide over the wall instead. And now the wall will get fully finished off, as now the Impaler camp is shoving in that mid lane in favor of Roll1Esports. Now they do have the extra stuns onto ATD. Level 10s are now there. Bacon gonna get hit by the Riptire, but they don't have any more crowd control available to pull Bacon back further. And now Zad just grouping up in the mid lane, trying to get in the way, trying to let the Impalers deal more damage to the wall, as Bacon gonna get hit by the Burrow Charge, but will dodge away on the Impale. And Cutie Puppy able to push everyone back, and they have the stun on Velvet and Dr. Evil. Rocky World is in a bad spot. Smoke is here, and with the Entomb able to block out Rocky World, but with the Burrow Charge, just barely enough mana for that, they will be able to get back to safety. So no one goes down despite every heroic being tossed out there. And it will be the Summon Ultralist coming out from Kerrigan, as now Rocky World able to get a little bit of poke onto Bacon, as they were the ones getting jumped, and now Zad could be in a bad spot. But without the Entomb with the Iron Skin, Zad should be able to just back it away. And no one's even really trying to go for this Joanna, and now that the Iron Skin's popped, we'll be completely fine. Trying to trade a little bit with ATD, but it is just kind of 2 beefcakes. They're not going to be able to deal enough damage for it. And the Bruiser Camp does get started by Bork's side of the moon. But now they're looking for ATD, and with the power slide in the reactions, going to be able to back away in time. Roll1Esports, they decided not to go for the Bruiser Camp. They're just trying to get set up immediately onto these skeletons, get an early lead. Now the team fight could start. The Condemned does land. Zad, they're looking for the backline. They have the Entomb, but Silver Spy getting hit as well. Riptire going to land just onto ATD. And with the Extendo Arm, they're going to take ATD out of the fight for now. But now the Magic Missile is just dealing damage over to the backline. Same with the grenades, just poking out over top the Arcane Orb. Smoke starting to get low, but with the extra healing, they're not able to get in time. The phase shift just isn't there Smoke will get finished off, so that is going to be 1 kill going over to Roll1Esports. But who's going to get the next one? Both teams are setting up. Smoke will be able to rejoin this fight. Only 14 seconds, and that's before all of the extra respawns are back up. 31-30 in terms of skeletons. This is going to be close. And now they do have the trap onto ATD09. But instead, it looks like Roll1Esports, they will be able to take the Punisher, as that was the mosh pit immediately canceled out as soon as it joined Condemn, trying to pull in Smoke, but with the Wraithwalk will be able to back out and play safely. And now they do have the jump. It is going to land onto ATD09, and they have the concussion mine as well. And they're just going to absolutely blow up this ETC. And they still have their Punisher shoving into the mid lane. The wall is gone. They could look for more, as look at the damage on a Cutie Puppy. That stun is no joke coming out of the Frozen Punisher. And with that, they'll have more than enough space to take this mid lane fort. But unfortunately, the Bruiser Camp, with the help of Smoke, able to take out the top lane fort. So overall, the buildings are even, but there's a massive wave in the bot lane as well. And overall, Roll1Esports were behind in experience, and now they're going to be ahead after that winning team fight. And with this extra siege camp, Steel Concussion Mine just going to get used to push Cutie Puppy out of the way. But ATD09, it could be looking for the play, but does get caught in the snap trap. Zad just trying to get the blind on a Cutie Puppy. ATD with the face melt, but neither team really wants to engage here, I don't think. But there are 5 members, but Cutie Puppy is going to get jumped on. Impale as well. And the burst damage trying to get on top, but not going to be able to jump on a Cutie Puppy. This time around, ATD09 Silver Spy were ready to protect that Sergeant Hammer. But that will still be the siege camp. Going towards Roll1Esports. Cutie Puppy again getting hit. Lurking arm as well. And now no mosh pit is up. It is now ready, but wasn't used in the team fight. ATD09 gets taken down to half HP. And now all 10 members gonna be down in this bot lane. But with the siege camp already getting taken, Roll1Esports, they feel fine just backing away. They're gonna go back and take their own siege camp. But ATD09 looking to contest. Impale not going to land. With a concussion mine, they're able to keep ATD09 away. And with the second concussion mine, just make sure ATD09 stays out. Now Zad has a pretty massive wave to catch over in this top side. Should be able to just clear it away. Catching a little bit of that extra soak as well as they're looking towards ATD09. They have the Impale. They have the Lurking Arm as well. But with the phase shift, we'll be able to heal back up. Now it is 4v5 here. The Cocoon will be used onto Smoke to make sure the Entomb doesn't come out and start a team fight. They wanted a pick. If they're not able to get the pick, they don't want the team fight to continue. It's now ATD09 looking for the flank play towards the bot side, but the wave's pushed out. Dr. Evil's in a safe spot, and Roll1Esports will just back away and start taking their Bruiser camp. But now let's see if they're able to get anything off of this push. They know that Roll1Esports is close towards the top side, but again, the wave clear from Dr. Evil is just a bit too high. Cutie Puppy will be able to get a little bit of damage, but without a wave, it's so difficult to approach onto this fort. ATD09 is in the back line, will get stunned. Impale as well, Lurking Arm, but Phase Shift will be able to heal back up, and Riptire they're just dumping everything onto ATD09, but they have more than enough heals to keep the cow alive. And that's going to be a lot of heroic abilities burned there as ATD09 will get jumped on once again. Lurking Arm is back up and the Condemn. Do they have enough damage? They don't have the phase shift this time around to protect ATD09, but again, just not enough DPS to get the kill. And now the Shrine will spawn, and Roll1Esports, once again, they're trying to get onto the point early, and they're trying to take advantage of it. They also have level 16 talents, at least for a little bit. Silver Spy gonna get signed up. Lurking Arm as well. And the Condemn not going to be there in time, but yes, Silver Spy 40 HP, and we'll get finished off by Velvet's teleport. And that's a massive kill to get. Without the healer, without Silver Spy, it becomes so much more dangerous to try and commit onto this objective. And I think without it, they're not even going to bother trying. Roll1Esports should be able to get this Mortar Punisher shoving out their bot lane. And it'll definitely help them to have another lane where they have an advantage. Because right now, they have mid lane pushing in, but their top lane, look how bad this wave is getting for them. With those extra cannons coming through, it's so much harder for them to defend. They have to be passively ready for it. As now the entire team of Roll1Esports, besides Zad, going to be down here. They will take the bottom fort. But how much more can they get? This Punisher still at 95% HP. Lots of little mines there. Will get collected by the Scarabs. It's not going to provide too much damage or help either, as now the Punisher is going to jump forward. And the Mortar Punisher deals a lot of damage to structures. But now Bacon looking for the angle. Will get hit by the Bro Charge instead. And will go into stasis. Smoke gonna be in the Cocoon. Dr. Evil trying to buy a little bit of space. Could be in a bad spot. And now the Extendo Arm will keep ATD09 off. And now Bacon's in a bad spot. They have the Condemn. And they're trying to get the Facial, but it's not enough. But they have the Dance coming in. They have nothing to interrupt it with yet. But ATD09 will still go down. And now Rocky Road looking for Silver Spy, looking for Smoke. They're both low. And they will go for Silver Spy instead. They have the Impale. And will be able to dodge away for now. And this Brightwing is super quick, but that's all they really have. They're going to lose their bot lane keep as well. And Roll1Esports, they could consider threatening the game, but no, they're going to be threatening the mid lane wall instead. Now, they will need to break their way back to the wave, as they were kind of completely stuck behind the wall. Smoke going to take a decent amount of poke on the way out as well. Concussion Mine going to be repositioning them aggressively. I guess that's the proper way to say that. But now they have 2 cannons in this bot, or in this mid lane, but with all 5 members spawned for Bork Side of the Moon, and with level 20s not quite available for them, this will be just a retreat for Roll1Esports for now, and they got a lot from that team fight. They have a level and a half advantage over Bork Side of the Moon. They have the bot lane keep, and they haven't even lost their 4th there yet. So they're going to have really good passive push there. They're going to have a passive push in the mid lane. But the top lane's still in a pretty bad spot for them. But with their other lanes being in such good positions, it shouldn't matter quite as much. But for Bork Side of the Moon, that is a bit of a silver lining. They still have top lane passively pushing. So they could send more resources trying to shove away the mid lane and the bot lane. Of course, Roll1Esports, they don't want to keep it that way. They're going to shove out this mid lane, and they're already running to this top lane. They want to take this forward. Dr. Evil just going to jump over the Concussion Mine. ATD09 watches them go over, but without anyone there from the team to support them, it would be a little bit dangerous trying to walk forward. And all these Scarabs are just getting spawned by Rocky Road, so they can immediately get started on this fort. But now this could be the start of the next team fight. Level 20 still not there for Roll1Esports. So this could be the last attempt for Bork Side of the Moon to have an even fight, at least for a little bit. Condemn gonna get used, but no one's in the area. So with that, Roll1Esports, they're gonna go back a little bit, and they are going to finish off their Bruiser Camp. I believe that will basically give them level 20, as they do finally ding over. Now this is their main power play. They could definitely brute force this top lane, as ATD09 gets spotted. But Rock Your World does not want to engage their side. Just going to be in the way with the Condemn, but not going to follow too much harder. But Cutie Puppy is trying to defend at least a little bit. They have the trap onto Smoke. But with the Bruiser Camp, with their extra level 20 talents, they do throw out the Entomb. And the fact that that's no longer available is going to be pretty big. Cutie Puppy in a bad spot. But Zad not going to invade on them. But they do have Bacon in a really bad spot and will absolutely burst them down. Rip Tire, Arcane Orb, just every little bit of burst thrown out onto Bacon. And now the Siege Part 2 begins. Now they're aiming for this top lane wall. And they're going to be able to take down one. The Bro Charge just used defensively, trying to stay away from ATD09. Zad is currently killing the skeletons. So it is 4v4 here. But at some point, Bork Side of the Moon, they will need to back up. There's a massive wave pushing out in the bot lane. But Roll1Esports, they're just going to go back. They're going to take the safe route, and they will take their skeletons and try and get this next Frozen Punisher. Now, because they've already finished off at least a good chunk of the wall, they should be able to try and threaten the keep here. And with a good team fight, they could threaten the game as well. And right now, Bork Side of the Moon, they're just trying to get their waves shoved out. They're trying to get that level 20 before the push begins, and they will be able to do that. So this is a position that they can fight in without disadvantage. Now, their only concern is that all of their lanes will be getting pushed in slowly, with the exception of their bot lane, which will be getting pushed in pretty quickly. But now with a couple grenades just getting tossed out, they should be able to take down this wall fairly quickly. Punisher is here as well, looking for Cutie Puppy. And they have the Entomb, but it is just going to separate the fight into two. Smoke will be able to use the Wraithwalk to get out of the Burrow Charge. Now Cutie Puppy is sieging up, but with the Riptire, going to be able to zone Cutie Puppy further away, and that will be the top lane keep going down. Roll1Esports able to get that for themselves. They're looking for ATD09. They have the silence, as ATD definitely looking for the mosh pit, but not going to be able to find it. They have so much peel that there's just no opportunity for ATD09 to really use it. And now the Punisher lands on a 2. Burrow Charge as well, and the Impale. But now Bacon able to stun on a 2, and Cutie Puppy has enough damage. It is 1-for-1 trade, but that could be enough for Bork Side of the Moon to try and defend here. Silver Spy starting to get pretty low as well. They don't really have too many other heroic abilities, so they will survive for now, but they still lost their keep as pretty big burst onto ATD, but ATD09 able to just heal back up. Cutie Puppy aiming for Dr. Evil. But Dr. Evil will just be able to back away, and they can't leave their base because, once again, the waves, they're in favor of Roll1Esports and may even be able to break the shield depending on how much damage they're able to deal. Yeah, they'll break it a little bit down to 89% on the core. It's not a lot, but it is just that little bit less damage that will be needed later on. Which could change a lot if it ends up being a backdoor race. And now the siege camp over the bot lane going to get locked in as well. As Roll1Esports, they're just resetting. They know they're down a member, but because of their waves, they're still going to be able to take down basically every single camp on the map. They are a little bit shy to go for their own. ATD09 is on the way, but is a little bit behind for this. They could try it out anyway. They have the lurking arm. ATD09 already used the engage. Now Bacon is the one that's going to be jumped upon. They have this stasis. Bacon is getting stuck, but the Entomb lands onto so many members. Riptire lands onto only one as well. Now Bacon looking for the backline will be able to jump away, and it's a 2-for-0 in favor of Bork's Side of the Moon. And that's a pretty big teamfight victory for them. Unfortunately, there isn't too much for them to gain. They will shove out the mid lane and will be able to take this fort. So I said there's not too much to gain, but if they're able to finish this off, that will put them back in an even state as the lurking arm able to provide so much space. Same with the poke coming out of Velvet and Dr. Evil. Now, one Impaler is still left alive as ATD just trying to walk in, but they have so much damage. ATD09 looking to aggressively, but not going to be able to get it. As now another massive wave, 3 cannons just going right at the core. Smoke is here to clear it away and should be able to clear it out before any permanent damage does arrive. As the rest of Bork's Side of the Moon, they're continuing pushing in this mid lane. 4 members strong against technically 3. Dr. Evil there from the side. Lurking arm just there to zone away Cutie Puppy as Bacon starting to get quite low. Takes a full combo from Velvet. And they're working towards the wall, but they're not able to finish it off entirely. ATD going to be hit away by the concussion mine. And that will be that for now, as Smoke looking for the Bruiser camp over in this top side as well. Both sides are going to be able to trade for it. And this next team fight is going to be pretty big. It is going to be that Mortar Shrine here in the mid lane. And both sides still have their keep there. So both teams could, in theory, defend against this, but this could be also the final team fight of the game. But once again, Roll1Esports, they're getting the push in the bot lane. They can play it slow as they have the condemn on ATD. Smoke looking for the play aggressively. ATD's there as well, as now Smoke is on the backline and is able to get the silence onto the main target, but the DPS from Velvet is too high. Smoke gonna get knocked into the wall and will get finished off. It's a 1-for-0 so far, but as ATD09 looking for the backline play as well. But the Condemned just buying space. They have the blind coming out from Zad as well. 22 skeletons, though. And that could be the hope for Bork's Side of the Moon. They want this Punisher so badly. But they have the stun. But with Bacon able to get back into stasis. And will get knocked away. And ATD09 will have the Mosh Pit on to 4. And actually going to get all 5. The Condemned will be able to prevent the fight. But it's still 2-for-1 already. Velvet in a bad spot as well. Will get finished off. The Punisher will go the way of Bork's Side of the Moon. And they may have just brought this back. Zad needs to get in their way. Needs to try and buy as much time as possible. Silver Spy going to try preventing this reset. But Zad will be able to juke and will be able to get back. Now Bork's Side of the Moon, they have time. They could threaten to end here. They have the health and they have the team composition for it as well. Smoke and ATD can tank basically forever. Riptire forced to be used just on ATD09, as now Zad trying to pull back the Punisher and might have gone a bit too far. And with a Drain Hope, Zad is gone as well. Silver Spy, last one, currently tanking onto the core. Still 15 seconds before any other member comes back. And despite having control of the map for 99% of the game, Bork side of the moon retake control in the final team fight, and they will be able to get this comeback and get that 2-0 domination. I was not expecting that comeback, especially once Roll1Esports, they got that initial kill. I thought that it was over. I thought they were going to be able to take that Punisher. They were going to be able to send it mid and just clear away Bork, because they were losing top and bottom, waves pushing in everywhere. But one good team fight, one massive mosh pit coming out from ATD09, that's all that was needed to get that team fight victory. And that team fight victory turned into a game victory and a domination. Now I'm going to take a moment to try and get set up for an interview. And hopefully we'll get one going. Give me one moment to get set up. But that's an incredible victory there. I was not expecting such a comeback at the end. I thought we were definitely going for a game number 3, but not this time, I guess. Man, no one's joined so far, and I'll give it another minute or two, but if no one joins, we'll just call it a night. I believe every other series is done as well, if I'm not mistaken. Because actually, no, the sound is still casting. And they're actually going into a game number 3. So, yeah, we'll give it a moment. I'll give it 1 or 2 more minutes. And yes, we do have someone joining in. We have a lot of people joining in. All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And yeah, I'm joined here by basically the entire roster of Bork side of the moon. So 2-0 domination. How does it feel?
I am still so stressed after both of those games. Obviously feels great to win, but man, those were like, we had to play out of our minds.
Yeah, without question, especially in that second game. I mean, ATD09 already here. I don't know if you're going to be speaking or not, but that mosh pit at the end, absolutely clutch, and definitely was the main ability that won you that game. What was going through your mind when you found that angle?
Mind people's control, I guess. I just press the button. It's a good angle. I mean, it was kind of out of, I had to make a play at the time because otherwise we were probably losing. So I have to go for something. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta give her, and it's clearly worked for you there. But, I mean, I have to give credit to your resiliency. I mean, you were behind for maybe 99% of that second map. Roll1Esports were definitely looking like they were about to roll over you. They had the bot lane keep, they had the top lane keep, waves were pushed in. What did that do for your shot calling, for the mental in that game?
Yeah, it was rough. We knew we were like aiming for the level 16, so the early losses weren't that bad, but even after level 16, we still kept losing just to them finding picks on us, pushing well, pressing their advantages. The waves constantly pressuring our core were super stressful for our comms. Yeah, I mean, if our resident cow didn't find the game-winning mosh pit, I don't know if we would have made it alive out of that one.
I mean, I'll be honest, I was expecting there to be a game 3 as well, not to be a hater, but I mean, you were able to bring it back. It was that Hail Mary push. And I was also going to say game 1, not quite as severe. I mean, at this point, I've seen your 1-3-1 Tyrael strat or Cutie Puppy before. But they were still able to take that first Dragon Knight off you. And I know that a big part of that strategy is about maintaining control there, so that doesn't happen. Do you think that was a big concern that they got the first Dragon Knight, or is that something that you could deal with?
It was kind of concerning. Wasn't something
we got
painful.
like a hard camp while they were doing that.
Yeah, we traded hard camp for Dragon Knight, which maybe not the best trade at that point in the game. Yeah, so a bit of a lapse in our map play there, but Roll1's really good at Dragonshire as well. We knew going into this it was going to be a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, but with that, still just a couple team fights, and you were able to finally start snowballing on the map. Because, I mean, Dragonshire is one of those maps, once you get ahead, you can really stay ahead if it's a comfortable lead. And it seems like for both those games, you were, well, at least for the game 1, you were able to go over that precipice. But in game number 2, you were able to keep Roll1Esports from going over that precipice with that final team fight.
Sounds like we're all still under the impression that we lost game 2. I don't know, is it just me?
I mean, we almost did.
I feel like I lost game 2.
Yeah.
No entombs for me.
I think what really helped game 1 was when it was our turn to get Dragon Knight. We were able to secure both mid and bot fort, which, as you said, once you get ahead on Dragonshire, by getting those buildings down, that makes it a lot easier to stay ahead. So our ability to get that advantage certainly helped us get to the late game.
Yeah, for sure. And with that domination, you do gain 4 points. That puts you over to 19 points. You're alone in second place, though with more games than every other team, except for Clouded Minds. So, what are your hopes for the rest of the season? There's only a couple games left now.
There's, I don't know, this has been a really fun division. I have no idea what the final standings are going to look like. It's exciting to see everything change after each week. So, first, I'm just hoping to secure a good standing for the playoffs, and then see how far we can go there.
Well, my question for the playoffs is there really a good standing to be in? Because from my impressions, any team can beat any team in this division.
Except us and Clouded Minds.
No, you're not wrong. I did say good standing, but I don't even know what a good standing would be. Because you're right. There's been so much back and forth with every team having 2 matches against each other.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to see. It's only a few more weeks away before we do get started into the playoffs. Well, either way, thank you for coming for the interview, and congratulations on your domination.
Thank you. Thank you for the cast.
Yeah, thank you for casting once again.
Always my pleasure. Have a good night.
You as well.
All right, and with that, we are done for the night. I won't be live tomorrow. I won't be live Saturday either, so I'm not going to see you all the way till Sunday. I'm going to miss all of you for that, but honestly, I could definitely use a break at this point. I will send you over to the sound. But thanks for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you on Sunday.